today I like to see if we can stay focused on three different areas. You as an immigrant and how you come about based on your philosophy in terms of finance and life. And then we'll swing over to you retire once, but then you return back to work. So, kind of help us see how your progress and process in determining that. And last but not least, we'll kind of talk about your current housing situation. Yvette, did you remember how we met and how long ago was it? It's been a while.
Wow, this picture makes me smile. We met in 2008, around that time frame. I remember that was when I got my CFP, my certification to be a financial planner. That was important to me. But more importantly, this was a group of individuals, Jolly, you included, where I was introduced to the Financial Planning Association and the pro bono team. So this picture makes me smile because it was a sense of belonging in a number of different ways. A sense of belonging to the select group of CFPs, a sense of belonging. I had found the Financial Planning Association group in Charlotte, and a sense of belonging because here was the pro bono group, and Jolly was the director at the time and introduced me to the group. And that was another sense of belonging for me. So this picture makes me smile for that reason. That's how we met, through FPA, through our mutual love of financial planning and helping others.
Yeah, and in this picture, you'll see Lynn sat next to Yvette, who was my predecessor as a pro bono director of the association. And then Yvette became the pro bono director after me. And then P in this picture became the pro bono director after you. So somehow all four of us continuously servicing the community. And if you notice, because of this picture, I went to the closet and find the exact same jacket to honor you today. Well, so thank you for catching up in terms of how we met, and we have been friends for such a long time. So let's start from the immigrant part. Can you share with us where did you grow up?
Born in Jamaica, actually in the mountains of Jamaica, in the country. And I have some memories there because it's just so far away from where I am right now. I was born there. I recall as a young girl sharing a 2-room house with my family. And that is my mom, my dad, and my 4 siblings. There wasn't a lot of room there. And suffice it to say, I wanted for plenty. I wasn't the only one. My mom did as well. In fact, she left that small community. She left by herself with little more than her dreams. She didn't have any resources, but she had her smarts, and she had a lot of dreams. And she went by way of Bermuda. And 3 years later, 3 years is not a long time, but 3 years later, she was able to send for her kids, all of us, and my dad. So all of us were able to join her. It was in New Jersey at the time. So I went from there with my mom's dream and me wanting for so much more. And over the years, I have to say, I watched her. I watched, she would say, just give me a little time. Things will be better. And it was, because she was able to put her kids through college, all of us, and she was able to buy a house. And she was able, when she passed away a few years ago, she was able to leave a legacy for her grandchildren so that they could go to college as well. So I'm thinking back. I I grew up in the mountains of Jamaica, went to New Jersey, and all the time watching my parents and the way they use finances to make things better. It's a whole different world for me now. But at some point, while I was growing up in New Jersey, seeing what money and finances could do sparked something in me, because I started at an early age to budget, to use money, as I saw my mom and my dad did it in a different way. My dad did it through charity and through sending monies back to Jamaica and to his family. But I saw how, as I grew up, how, yeah, with a little time, my mom could save to move us from an apartment to a house. With a little time, she could save up and get us a bigger house when we needed the room. And when different things would come up, I would see the difference that it would make.
So, based on the learning that you have, would you be able to share, not just, I'm obviously hearing what you're saying is not just the finance part, but also work ethics, right? Because your dad, your mom probably making very small amount, but feeding big family, in addition of sending money back, meaning that they're supporting a lot of people. That's an important work ethics that I'm sure instill in me, in you. Would you be able to talk a little bit about, through that experience, what is your low point in life, followed by what is your high point in life, and then tell us about a turning point. So start with the low point in life, then go with the high point in life, and then just share with us your turning point.
So that's a complicated one. But one of my earliest memories is in the hills of Jamaica, being hungry and feeling that hunger to the core, and saying to myself, just closing my eyes and saying, yeah, there's a different me somewhere, and it's not here. Just remembering that, and remembering that I wanted more for me than I saw. So that was one of the lower points. And then growing up in New Jersey, it was a tough life. But what we had was a family. I mentioned my mom left for 3 years, and she left us in Jamaica at that time. There were some, I think, consequences, and it affected the relationship that I had with my mom. With that relationship, that had to be rebuilt, and it was difficult. So there were low points related to relationships. And when I was 21 years old, I met a young man and who listened to me night after night after night, day after day, because I was able to share a lot of the memories and a lot of the wanting, I would say, that I needed. So I met that young man who later became my husband, and I credit him for a lot of the emotional healing that I needed. I look at that picture now, I feel like a queen. I used to read a lot of fairy tales when I was a little girl. I used to dream a lot as I read those fairy tales, wanting to be not this life that I had, but a different life where my dreams would come true. I would not want for a whole lot, but I would get what I needed. And so you fast forward it to a life where I have all that I need. I have what I want. That says a lot, but a high point, could be I have two adult children, two adult kids right now. That's a high point when they can look at me and say, Mom, your dreams help to propel us. Wow, that's a wonderful picture. That's my family. Having a family and my daughter saying to me, Mom, I always felt that we were wealthy growing up. And I knew that we weren't, but just to say that she felt that. Well, we went to a private school and we had a cleaning lady and, things like that. Traveling to Iceland, traveling to Paris, traveling to Italy, traveling to England. That's a fairy tale story. So I feel like, yeah, those fairy tales I used to read as a little girl and dream, my life has become part of that fairy tale.
So what are some of the turning points for you?
Oh,
What are some of the turning points? Because obviously you walk through
yeah.
learning, repatching the relationship with your mom, and met James along the way that you listened so well. And still, after 3 decades, you're
Yeah.
happily married with two wonderful children.
Yeah, I remember being in high school and I had my high school, two teachers in high school. Mr. Strohmeyer was one of them, who was my science teacher, and Mr. Elhaj, who was my chemistry teacher. Not that I have an interest in the sciences, but those individuals had an interest in me, in particular, me and feeling that there was something special, that I was smart, that I was going somewhere, that I was going to do something. And I remember spending a lot of time with them because I liked to hear some of the things that they felt I could do. In New Jersey, in Irvington, New Jersey, I wanted to capture that because both of those individuals were white males. And I would say in New Jersey, there were a lot of times where I felt this kind of racism, I'll say now, that I never felt in Jamaica. For example, I remember going out for the spelling bee. There were so many difficulties in me actually competing that I couldn't compete. I didn't have a chance. That was in 8th grade. And so in 9th grade, I just felt different situations where I just want to show my ability. I just want to show what I could do. And there were so many difficulties in doing that. And yet these two individuals would say, there are opportunities for you. I wanted to go to, and I didn't have the funds. And Mr. Strohmeyer actually funded it for me. That meant a lot because the doors were open. I remember wanting to be part of the cheerleading team and trying out for it, not making the team, but realizing that that was an important social avenue for me as well. Mr. Elhaj encouraging me, and I actually tried out for a twirling team and kind of encouraged me to go to the library and teach myself. And I actually did. And I was able to make the team. So it was interactions like that where people encouraged me and I would do something and see the result that kind of encouraged me for that kind of behavior in different circumstances.
Obviously, there were two teachers make significant impact on you, especially believing in you, right? Believing that you are special and you're going to go places. Also, you find an avenue to, I would use the word, somewhat of integrating into the U.S. culture through cheerleading.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, that kind of opened up an avenue that you knew in the inside of your voice, a little girl in Jamaica, now that you can see a path going forward. So I wonder how much of that, how you turn these two beautiful children into fabulous people today, how much of those learning that help you kind of pass along into bringing up your children, and they are just phenomenal people and major contributors in society today.
So yeah, it starts a lot with what you have in your home growing up. Individuals like my mom and dad who worked hard, and I saw it. Yes, that was a part of it. And it also gets back to what I have in me, whether it's part of the fairy tales, but I always dreamed. As I dreamed, I realized, hey, I'm in America. Things cost money. My mom taught me about budgeting, taught me about what you have coming in and allocating it so that it works to do what you want. One of the things I learned growing up is, it was never enough to do all that you want, but you could do some. You would do the important ones, like saving for the future and taking care of your today and take care of the bills so that you don't have debts building up. So those were some of the ground, the framework, the foundation. And then here you are with your family. One of the things I shared with my husband, when he had asked me to marry him, I said, yeah, we can do that. And before we get married, I would like to have a house. Now, my first job out of college, first of all, going to college was just not something, when you look at the funds that we have, it just didn't fit in. It didn't fit in. My mom said, if you're going to go to college, you need to find a job as well. And I'm like, how does that work? How will that work? So I got into a college where they paid me to attend the summer classes and prepared me for the coming semester. I always felt like whatever situation was before me, it was something that I had to fight to keep. I had to work hard to keep, time and time again. When I graduated from college, I thought, all the job offers would come. It didn't work like that. You had to have a connection. I looked at, okay, where are the individuals? Where are they going coming from my college? That's where I went. I followed, okay, where are they being placed? In the absence of having traditional en route, I made a way by looking around and saying, okay, this is what I need. This is the goal. How are others getting there and what can I do?
I'm just listening to how incredible your mom was, because she taught you very early on the importance of planning, right? Because She taught you systematically looking at budgeting, what's coming in, what's going out. Something that caught me when you were saying, you mentioned that anyone can dream, but then the most important thing that is that you may not do all, but you could do some, is the important ones to you. The ability for you and growing up with your family, knowing how to take advantage of, work and study program, potentially scholarship, those are incredible value that I'm sure that you instill to your children.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wanted to mention something that as you were talking, I thought about not long ago. I think you had hosted teenager or high school students in your home. We don't have much time for that, but would you be able to share how that opportunity come about and why did you do that? Because obviously I thought it was incredible things that you did, and not only show your children how to be genuinely just generosity, if you will,
Yeah.
in helping others. So share a little bit about that host family experience that you have.
Yeah, so we hosted a student from China. It sparked our interest because my kids are 7 years apart. And my son was in college and my daughter was in high school. In her high school, the host program, we wanted an opportunity for her to have someone to go to school with. And we actually wanted a girl from a foreign country. That didn't work out. That didn't work out for us. It turned out that the only individual available was a boy. And we thought about it. Hey, this could work. We have a home where we could host someone. And in fact, it turned out to be so much of an experience than we thought it would. It was just an opportunity to have someone and teach them about U.S. culture, have someone to be a companion to our daughter while she was in high school at the time. That worked out well, but it was so much more. Here is someone who was actually able to travel with us, to be a part of our family for a year, be involved in different trips. We would go to DC, we went to Philadelphia together. So he was a part of our family, teaching us about China. I remember one of the things he really liked was my cooking. He really liked my food. And in fact, one of the other host families would come and say, what is it that you're cooking? What is it that you're making for his lunch? Because he just, the other host child that she had would just not eat. So it was introducing him to the food, our own network of a family and the things that were important to us. And he would always stay up at night and just talk with us. We'd share stories. We'd share stories about Jamaica. He'd share stories about China. And and my husband would share stories about growing up in New Jersey. So it was an immense opportunity for us to all share. And for a year, and the basic thing that we wanted, the companion for my daughter for school, that did occur. That did happen. So it was just a very rich experience all the way around.
I would say that not only is a rich experience for him, also a rich experience for you, being a host family. The secret ingredients of your cooking is love. I think that you would agree with me. It's the love that not only that he is a companion for Joy, but at the same time, you really immerse him into the network of your family, your community, make him part of the family. And I bet that that is part of the sense of culture that you grew up in New Jersey. Along the way that you were able to spread your wing a bit. So congratulations for doing that. I'm going to switch gear for a moment. With all the great things that you have done throughout your careers and build a beautiful family and financially independent along the way, share with us when was the very first time you retired?
Mhm.
And how long that retirement lasts? Walk us through why did you decide to go back to work?
So I retired in 2020. 2020 and the pandemic definitely brought to light so much about what's important as we dealt with such a significant impact on our community and our community's health. But I had been in financial services, and one of the things that was important to me is to take care of my own finances. In 2020, the opportunity came, a package offered, depending on your years of service in the organization, you were able to get a buyout package. Now, in addition to that, it was important for me to look at what I had saved, what my husband and I had saved over the years, to be able to support our lifestyle for the rest of our lives. And I actually met with my financial planner, who was a complimentary service that I had with my company. And the financial plan indicated that I was in a good position to do that. Now, I was 60 years old at the time. One of the biggest things about retiring early is thinking about medical coverage, healthcare coverage. My husband also has a business and did not have healthcare coverage. So that's one of the key things. Part of the package covered it for a year. The big question was covering for that, in addition to funding my lifestyle. So I had to consider that, but it was a wonderful feeling to say, hey, I can retire early. There's some things I have to figure out, yes, but I can retire early because I had been diligent in saving for my future in the years that I needed to. So that occurred. But then, and things were wonderful. I was doing a lot of volunteer, doing what I love. I volunteered primarily with SCORE, which was a nonprofit organization that helps small businesses. And I actually was volunteering, helping some small businesses, a restaurant, and my hairstylist, her business as well. So I did some volunteer work there and found that I was just as busy as when I was working in a 9-to-5. During that time, one of the individuals I'd worked with at my former company reached out to me for an opportunity in his wife's company and an opportunity in his company. So there were these opportunities 2 years later. And as I found out more about one of these opportunities, I realized it was a lot of what I was doing in volunteering, and it would give me the flexibility to work from home and the flexibility that I needed and that I could. So I was willing to look at that as an opportunity to get back in. And that's kind of where I am now. Life after retirement. So life after retirement means you can't do things that the way that you used to, because it has to feel like, hey, this is another phase. And it's something that you're doing that you love. That's the case for me. When it stops being rewarding in that sense, then it's time for me to retire again. We're not there yet, but those are some of the things I look at.
There are a whole lot of things there. Let me just unpack it. I absolutely love the fact that you mentioned, because of your own diligence and profession, you did not want to be something like a shoemaker's son has no shoes. Right?
Yeah.
You have your own financial advisor or certified financial advisors helping you gauging that decision point. And you know that you have enough, you're financially independent, but you need to figure out the healthcare coverage. Mm-hmm. And by doing that diligent work, not only makes you feel good that you can maintain your lifestyle, and also took advantage of that 1 year buyout package. Things just work really well. Every time when I talk to you, I know that we have a lot in common. You volunteer something that you love, helping small business through SCORE, and I have done that many moons ago as well. We're a small world. That kept you busy, meaning that when you are enjoying your retirement, volunteering actually fulfill big part of your retirement life. But at the end of the day, because you are so connected in the community, right? Your network of connection was so solid that opportunity just came up, that you have an opportunity to go back to work and kind of readjust your lifestyle a little bit. Very proud of you. That's an incredible progress. But share with us, in your own experience, even looking forward, what is a perfect retirement life for you?
Okay. A perfect retirement life. So I think one of the things when I consult with individuals, we're talking about preparing for retirement. I always ask them, what's that picture you see? How can you make that real? I like to dream about that. Let's dream about it. What are the elements there? And I ask them to dream and think about what brings a smile to your face, because you want your retirement life to be a pleasant one. You want it to be a reward for all your hard work. And for me, it's been a lot of hard work. So when I think about, that next, and there's so many things about, growing old, that's not going to be pleasant. You want to be able to plan and project and to use your monies for those that can be pleasant for you. Because as the years go by and the wrinkles come, and your circle becomes smaller, all of those things, you want to have something. So think about the things that you want to do that you weren't able to do before. For me, I want to learn another language. That's going to be a challenge, but hey, it's going to bring me joy to know, even if it's, just a few sentences I can say in another language, I would like to do that. So you want to think about what makes you happy and what things that you can do, and do it. So it's the retirement life of doing things that you love and rewarding yourself with the money that you have accumulated, that you've worked for over the years. So whether that means, hey, it's going to be traveling, it's going to be learning, it's going to be working part-time, doing something you love, dream about it. Let it bring you joy, and then embrace it and take it on. That's what retirement is. You want to let go of those requirements that you have, or those things that you have to do, and do the things that you want to do.
Well said. Do the things that you want to do. But I really think that the ability for you to dream since the little girl hasn't changed, and putting the smile in your face during the retirement. You mentioned about you wanted to be able to enjoy life, take this as a reward of your hardworking years. But at the same time, this is very important that you mentioned that you wanted to plan, and project about those unnecessary aging risks, right? All of us is going to have some risks there, but you're able to plan that accordingly. And recognizing that, yes, your network of circle will become smaller. It's just the nature of life. And what language are you planning to learn? I'm curious. That's going to bring you joy.
I always wanted to learn French.
French. Wow. Was there a particular reason for that?
It just sounds so beautiful. I wasn't a singer. I was never a singer. So, French is just a nice, parlez-vous français, just a nice, beautiful language.
Wow.
So if I'm not going to sing with my voice, I might as well sing with some words here.
In some words. I love that. And I absolutely love the fact that you say, let go some of these requirements, once you are in retirement, or even before you are in retirement. I remember there's a book out there done by author Brooks with Oprah Winfrey. He mentioned about to be happy. And this doesn't matter whichever the stage that you're in. He mentioned about there are 4 things that people tend to do to make them happy. One is you need to have a good balance of family, friends, work, and faith. And in retirement, obviously, those work could be learning, could be part-time working, could be traveling. All that encompass that. So it sounds like you have the entire perfect picture all planned and already doing that. So congratulations. Now I'm gonna switch to one of the important subject in retirement, and that is housing. And I know that you have a plan that you are potentially downsizing, but definitely relocating. Share with us about how did you come up with that decision, and what's leading you to wherever that you're going next.
I think the idea to move actually came up when my husband and I think, we were walking up the stairs and having difficulties. That was maybe, in our 50s. And we say, maybe we don't want to have this house forever. Certainly start thinking about downsizing. Downsizing, that's a term we all hear. Downsizing mean, hey, we'll get a smaller house when the kids are no longer here. So our youngest daughter graduated college and she says, hey, I'm not coming back home. In fact, I'm looking at going back to school. And then, she wanted to go back to school to become an attorney. When she does, she's not likely to be coming back to North Carolina. So started looking at, hey, so what makes sense for us? So, sitting down to think about it, we said, hey, when she graduates, we'll start thinking about downsizing. This is a 5-bedroom house. We don't really need that. So let's think about that. Maybe, we could downsize for something that would cost less. Well, fast forward, now it's 2023 and the housing prices are out of range, really crazy. So we still want to hold on to the fact that we want to downsize. We don't really need this room. So then some other things come into play. Family. We want to be close to family. As we get older, that becomes so much more important. Closer to kids if we can. You can't try to follow them because, then they go someplace else, but somewhere in the range. So definitely close to family, close to kids, getting a small house. And for us, it was, okay, now we can reward ourselves with some things in the house that we've never had, like a sunroom we don't have now. We definitely want that in our next house. So we're able to plan, and we decided, okay, now we can focus on the area that we want to move to. So in looking at that, it's close to family, maybe in the area that our kids may be, or at least closer to them. So, and also with our circle of friends. In my case, I do have circles in different countries, so that's not as crucial, but definitely, your circle of friends and who you can connect with. So here we are, it is time. And now, we're looking, this is a great time. We have not just the energy, we have the resources to finance it. So this is a great time. You don't want to um, look at that when you are not in the best position to do that. So now we can look, and if we need to make a cash offer on a house, we are able to do that as well. But from a physical, from positioning, we are ready, and this is an ideal time. So within the next, I would say 6 months, we're going to be relocating, which means buying another house and selling the house that we're currently in.
I always love how you are always planning ahead, right? Downsizing, get into a smaller home, which basically, in terms of financial term, basically means that you're stretching your dollars longer, right?
Yeah.
Downsizing that reduce a lot of living expenses as well. And then the criteria for you is closer to families, closer to kids as much as possible, and closer to continue to be with friends. I like to kind of share some of the statistics that I found. This is through 2022 from the U.S. Census Department. This tells you about how the migration in the U.S. goes. And this is the chart shows that when people are normal with no disability and the age of 85 and above, only 1.54% of the population in that age group will move. The 27.3% will not bother to move. And so Yvette mentioned something that is really crucial. When you can move, move. And this is the chart that is most alarming, which means that when someone become aging, very likely to become disabled. So this chart shows you that when you are disabled, this is age 85. If you do live to that long, which many of us will, with the medical advancement, but if you look to the right, you will see that 64% of the population in the age of 85 and above cannot move, will not move, and is disabled. And that would have cost a family a lot more if you don't plan early. So I really do like the fact that you plan early and able to make those decisions while you can, because otherwise it will become somewhat of not really pleasant when we get there. So I have, if there's one advice that you can give to retirees, how to spend their time in retirement, what would that be?
So I guess I am a first-time retiree gone back to work. I would say live. Live meaning reward yourself. If you've taken the time to plan, to prepare, I meet a lot of people and they're like, what's next? Live. There's so many resources out there. In terms of what's available to do, there are things that are within our realm. It's a new world with AI and all of the things that are out there. But find what you love and do it. Spend the money on it.
And I love that. Find what you love, live a little, take that rewards. But the important part is you need to plan and prepare for it. So I love that. Live a little or a lot. Depending on how much money that you have.